This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we spotlight guest Chris Wilder of Los Gatos, California. Chris learned to play the guitar in his teens. In addition to his passion and diligent work ethic, Chris credits his fellow musicians as teachers and co-creators. He learned at a young age what it feels like to work with others toward a common goal. Chris has dedicated much of his professional life to nonprofit organizations and was the executive director of the Valley Health Foundation in Silicon Valley when he suffered a stroke in 2021. Chris now applies his life lessons to stroke recovery. Throughout his story, Chris discusses the importance of facing difficulties, connecting with supportive friends, and dedicating time to a purpose. His story is entitled, Part of Something Greater. Thank you for joining us for Part 2, Chris Wilder's interview.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. This week, we welcome guest Chris Wilder of Los Gatos, California. Chris has been a musician throughout his life, founded a couple bands in the 80s with his brother, and even toured the world as the lead guitarist in the punk rock band MDC for a while. He has also devoted much of his life to work with nonprofit organizations. Chris was the executive director of Valley Health Foundation of Silicon Valley when he suffered a stroke in 2021. Now, in addition to his dedication to family, friends, and therapy exercises, Chris serves on the board of Stroke Awareness Foundation. His story is entitled Part of Something Greater. As we begin, we take a moment to slow down and to pause. Chris today speaks about being part of something greater. As we slow down, we draw attention to our breath, to the inhales and exhales, understanding that each consecutive breath means life. Each breath contributes to connection, to purpose, to wisdom, to inspiration and growth. Today, as we settle in, we give thanks to each individual breath. We give thanks to the collective. We give thanks for the collective. And we ask for courage to do our part in order to serve a world in need of our gifts. Chris, thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah. In your story, you said the doctors cracked your skull open, took out your left temporal lobe and put your skull back together again.
Yeah, and that's a shortened version of the story. It took a long time to do, but that's what happened. And in fact, they didn't put my skull back where it was. The piece of skull actually stayed on ice at Good Samaritan Hospital. And the neurosurgeon, who's a friend of mine at Valley Medical Center, did a 3D printed version of it out of plastic because he said that was safer, better for infection control and rejection elimination. So we put that in. And then I got my piece of skull, and I've actually had a friend of mine help me cut it up into pieces and make guitar picks out of it.
Whoa, guitar picks. How did your friend make guitar picks out of it?
Cutting the skull piece into pieces and then laminating them. Not quite done yet, but we'll be done soon.
And how many guitar picks can you make out of that portion of your skull?
Well, it depends on whether we can cut the pieces in half, sort of lengthwise. I'm not sure if they're thick enough to do that. But if we can do that, then I think we'll have a dozen. Pretty good sized piece of skull that they had to remove.
Yeah. So those are a dozen really important people in your lives that would receive a pick from you, from
Correct.
Your skull.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
As you can imagine, I've had a lot of guitar players that I've worked with over the years. So the challenge is going to be deciding who gets one and who doesn't.
I'm glad I'm not in your position for that. I'm sure that you have a lot of important people in your life.
I do. I wish I could give everyone a guitar pick.
So you don't have a left temporal lobe now.
Correct.
So what does that mean for you? What are your challenges at this point?
Well, the left temporal lobe controls a lot of things, including speech and some memory and recall. And that's why they said to my wife when I was in the hospital in a coma, you know, if he comes out of this, you may have to make some hard decisions about what kind of life he would want to lead, because he may not be able to recognize you or anyone. He may not be able to make new memories. He may not be able to communicate properly. But because I can do all those things, a lot of the doctors think maybe what happened was when I had my stroke and that part of my brain was damaged, all that information somehow migrated over to another part of my brain where it took over. So in that way, I got lucky.
Man, the body is amazing. The brain is amazing.
Yeah, I think all of us who've survived a stroke are lucky in one way. I mean, unlucky that it happened to us in the first place, but lucky that we're here, right? It could have been a lot worse. I've met a lot of stroke survivors who are in much worse shape than I am, and I know you have too. And a lot of people don't survive a stroke. So for those of us who have, in a way, we're the lucky ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chris, I know that you're actively working on your recovery. What are you focusing on right now in recovery?
Well, a lot of stuff at once. Still working on how to walk properly. Learning how to walk a second time in my life is not what I ever planned on. So still working on that. Working on moving my right arm better. I've got some good movement, but not a ton. But I can move it, and that's fun. I'm continuing to work on my memory and my speech. Working on just all sorts of things, right?
Yeah. You mentioned at one point that Valley Medical Center was like home to you. You said that the doctors and the nurses and the therapists there were your friends, and that you ran their foundation before your stroke.
Correct.
Can you describe to me how it felt to be surrounded by doctors and nurses that you knew personally?
Well, I love that part. I loved trusting everyone who was working on me and helping me. Even though lots of times the things they were helping me do were painful and difficult, it was easy to motivate me when I trusted them and I believed in their therapies and their ideas. So I worked really hard because I knew that they must know what they were talking about. As a result, I learned a lot of stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you trusted your surgeon instead of using your actual skull. You trusted him to create a specific piece that would fit in your skull.
Yeah, there was a couple reasons for that. One is he said, if we use a piece of fabricated skull, then the odds of your body rejecting the piece go down and infection chances go down. He said, you know, I haven't been with your actual skull since it was taken out, so I don't know how they stored it, what temperature it's been at. And because I can't tell all that and don't know all that. I'd rather eliminate the guesswork and the chances and use something that we create.
Use something that we create.
Yep.
In a way, you're a creative too. So both you and your surgeon create things for this world.
Yeah. And again, I trust him greatly for lots of reasons. He's a good friend and a good man. And from everything I know about him, a great surgeon. I'm lucky. I'm able to access quality health care. And I was from the moment I had my stroke until today.
It's true. Many people aren't as lucky. How has your perspective of Valley Medical Center changed or solidified since you were a patient there?
Well, it was the first time I'd ever been an inpatient for any reason. And ideas about Valley Medical Center were just really strengthened. I had great care. I feel good about what happened to me there. And I think I'm doing really well today, in part because of their wonderful work and care.
How important it is to trust the professionals. A lot of the anxiety in our recovery process is fear, and to know and trust the medical professionals helps you release some of that anxiety and tension and fear.
Yeah, and all of us who suffered strokes have plenty of anxiety and fear already. So being able to not have to worry about that part of it was pretty good.
Yeah. And still good, I'm sure. You're still in therapy, right?
Sure am.
At one point in our conversations, you mentioned how it's important to take advantage of a variety of therapy programs.
Yeah, whatever is offered you, whatever you can find, and whatever you can afford, or whatever your insurance company will help you with, take advantage of.
What are some unconventional therapy programs that you've tried?
I'm not how unconventional they are. You know, a lot of people don't know how good acupuncture can be, but I recommend trying that if you can. I recommend meditation. If you're not into meditation, try it. I certainly wasn't ever, but I've been doing that since I got home, and it's helpful. And lately, for the past month or two, I've been doing microdosing of psilocybin mushrooms. And I find that's really improved my recall, and they say it has long-term health benefits. And it's easier now to get. You can go online and get them. You can get them in capsule form or gummies or the raw mushrooms.
Yeah, I've heard of that. John from Portland was also talking about how helpful that was in his recovery. It's more readily available these days.
Yes, it is.
For some people, it's really difficult to start meditating. How did you start?
I used an online program, Headspace it's called. And I like Headspace. You get a nice guy who narrates you and walks you through the process. And I found it very helpful. I mean, at first, when I was newly home, I wasn't good at it because I couldn't stay awake through the sessions. I kept falling asleep, which is also okay, but not really the point. So I had to wait until I was a little bit more healed until I could fully take advantage of it. But I recommend it.
Maybe you are taking advantage of it in a different way at the beginning.
In a different way, yes.
Yeah. Is it still that Australian guy that narrates?
Yes.
I love his voice.
Yep, me too.
Chris, in your story, you said, don't ignore difficult stuff because it's difficult.
Yes.
In your story, you shared guidance that you gave friends who were unsure how to act after your stroke. That can be difficult. It sounds like some friends have been very supportive through it all.
Yeah, I would say most of my friends have been great, but it took a long time for some of them to reach out and to know what to say or how to ask what I needed or when to come visit. And I think once they realized it was okay for them to come and see me and that I wasn't made of glass, that really helped. So I see my friends all the time, and it feels good. It means the world. I've always leaned on my friends. It feels good to be surrounded by good people who want to come and help me. And since I've been more mobile over the past year or two, maybe a year and a half, they always want to take me to lunch. So we go out and do things a lot of times.
What are some of the things that they did at the beginning when you first returned home that were helpful?
Just calling me on the phone, having a chat, stopping by for a short visit. Even when I was not able to stay awake for very long. I remember in the beginning, I could never go
a full day without a nap. Nowadays, I'm taking a nap maybe once every other day. But when I first came home, and like a lot of stroke survivors know, the idea of going all day without a nap is just not thinkable. That's part of the brain healing itself. You need lots of rest. So in the beginning, it was harder, but even then, a lot of my friends said, look, I'll come visit, and when you need to kick me out, just kick me out and take a nap. Again, it's nice to be surrounded by people who understand the situation. We're willing to help, be willing to help on your terms.
Yeah, it sounds like you were very clear about what you needed at that point.
I was. People want to bring food. People want to take me places. All those things can be helpful, but not always necessary. Sometimes just a quick visit is really nice.
Yeah, just a change of the scene. Chris, you were the bass player in a blues band named Legally Blue when you had your stroke. How did you and the band navigate the transition after your stroke?
Well, the transition was in parts very easy. I couldn't play bass anymore, so they just asked me, Chris, would it be okay if we found someone to fill your seat until you are recovered and can come rejoin the band? And I said, absolutely. I would not want to see the band not continue just because I can't be in it right now. And at the time I thought, well, this will be short term. I'll be back in the band in a couple of months. I didn't realize how long recovery might take. And so nowadays, thinking about the new guy who I've seen play with the band a couple of times, and he's very good, the idea of kicking him out of the band again is ridiculous. So I feel like I've done my time in the band. I played in the band for 20 years, and so it's the new guy's time. And the band sounds great even without me. And that's okay.
Wow, that goes back to your whole point of the story that you're part of something greater.
I helped form the band with our guitar player. We've had a number of changes in musicians over the years, but I've been the only bass player until my stroke.
Wow. And you believed in the band and the music that you wanted it to continue, and you want it to continue still.
Absolutely.
Chris, Michelle Tipton Burton from San Jose State University's Occupational Therapy Program nominated you as an inspiring stroke survivor.
Well, she's a good friend, and she's been a great therapist for me.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I can see many reasons why she sent you to me.
Well, thank you, and I thank her. I'm very happy she did that, and I'm proud that she would think of me in that way, and I hope I'm inspiring. I mean, I certainly have had a lot of inspiring stories since I've had my stroke that I've heard, and I've met a lot of people through that. But Michelle has been a great friend. She and I worked together at Valley Medical Center. She was in the rehab department, and I ran the foundation, as you know. And so we became good friends back then. She also volunteered for our foundation. So when I had my stroke, she contacted me and said, Chris, if you're looking for an occupational therapist, I'd be happy to help you. And so for the last few years, she's been coming to my house a couple times a month, at least. As a therapist, she is really good at figuring out how to get to our goal and then pushing me really hard and making sure that whenever I say, I don't think I can do that, her response is, of course you can. I wouldn't have suggested if I didn't think you could do it.
That's a good therapist.
She's good. She has pushed me so hard, and I owe a lot of my recovery so far to her.
Wow.
I'm very, very proud and happy to know her. Now, back when I had a caregiver and I had someone to drive me around, I also used to go to San Jose State and participate in our classes. And I would work with the students, and they would help me and take me through different parts of their program. And I was sort of their subject. So that was fun too.
That does sound fun.
Hopefully I helped the next generation of therapists.
Sounds like you're helping them and they're helping you.
Yep, it was good.
Chris, will you please share about a couple stroke survivors who have been inspiring to you throughout your recovery?
Sure. And you can see the t-shirt I'm wearing here. There's an event called Golf for Life put on by my friend Deb Shaw, and Deb is super inspiring. She's had many strokes, but keeps on fighting for more and more recovery. She and her husband, Bob, have done a great job putting on this event every year in San Jose. And I recommend anyone who is either able to travel to San Jose or lives near San Jose to sign up for Golf for Life. Happens every September, and it's super fun. You don't even have to be a golfer. You'll still enjoy it. There's putting competitions. If you can play a little bit, you can go out on the course and play. There's PGA professionals out there who will help you and teach you things so you can learn how to get back to a game that you maybe used to love, or maybe if you've never played golf, this was your intro to it. So Deb is amazing and has been a huge inspiration to me. And I'll tell a quick story about a new friend I have named Ash, who had a stroke about a year ago. And I was introduced to him through a mutual friend. And when I met him, he was in a wheelchair. And he and his wife had a brand new baby. And that put things in perspective quickly for me. I thought, wow, I think my difficulties and challenges are hard. Imagine having a new baby and having a stroke. We planned to get together a couple of months ago in downtown Santa Cruz at a pub we both know and like. And my wife and I pulled into the parking lot, and he and his wife pulled into the spot next to ours. He got out of the car with a one-armed walker, no wheelchair, and just headed for the building that we were going to go to with no support except his one-armed cane. And so I looked at my wife. I said, well, I guess I'm leaving my wheelchair behind, aren't I? So I got out of the car and I took my cane and I followed him in. So although I'd had a stroke way before his peer pressure and his strength gave me the inspiration that I better just get on with it and try as hard as I can. So I followed him in, and he hasn't used a wheelchair since.
Wow.
I mean, these are stories that most stroke survivors after a while can tell. You know, you meet people through your recovery and events or groups online that you join or whatever, and everyone has an important and inspiring story.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love meeting with people like you who are willing to share their stories with others.
Well, thank you. I think most people are willing to share. It just takes some people time to realize that they can do it and that they feel comfortable with it.
Such is life, right? It takes time for us to realize we can do it.
Well, and it's easy for me because I've always been one to want to engage with people. I've just been that way. And I think that sharing helps you connect with people, and it always helps them one way or another.
Agreed. Sharing is two-way. I think it's powerful to listen to each other, and it's also powerful to share our perspective, our thoughts, our stories.
Agreed.
Chris, you are a fascinating individual. You've played in bands of many genres. You work for and run a variety of nonprofits to serve the community, and you had a stroke. What are your suggestions for other stroke survivors out there?
I would suggest just keep pushing yourself. And on the days that things are difficult, try to reflect on people who have it harder than you and reflect on how good it's going to be when you get over that plateau and achieve that milestone, because you will. You just got to fight. Stroke recovery does not come easy. And some days it's painful and frustrating and terrible. Well, guess what? We got to get through it. So keep on pushing and keep on fighting. We all will.
Chris, thank you. Thank you for sharing your powerful stories about trusting the professionals, trusting that you will get better. Your stories about connecting with your friends, connecting with your community, connecting with other stroke survivors.
Yeah, and if anyone listening to my story wants to connect, the easiest way to do that with me is on Facebook. Just look up Chris Wilder. I live in Los Gatos, California. Send me a message and I will answer it.
Chris, you are a friend to many. You're a friend to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thank you for connecting for the past month or so. I really enjoyed our time together. I enjoy our conversations. In your life experiences, you have a wealth of life experience.
I do. Molly, thank you. Anytime. I appreciate our time, and I appreciate that you've taken this on as more than a hobby, a vocation.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
In closing, we pause to acknowledge our lives as part of something greater. Our words, actions, talents, perspectives have the power to transform not only our lives, but the lives of those around us. As we close, we acknowledge the people who have supported, taught, and inspired us to be our best selves. Maybe think of one specific person in this moment who has supported, taught, and inspired you to be your best self. Now we offer thanks for them and ask for courage to be that person for others. And we give thanks.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.
Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 2, Chris Wilder's interview. For the full story, please listen to Part 1, Chris Wilder's story. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. In this episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we heard from guest Chris Wilder, who was a guitarist and the executive director of Valley Health Foundation in Silicon Valley before his stroke in 2021. Chris shared how he applies life lessons to stroke recovery. Throughout his story, Chris discusses the importance of facing difficulties, connecting with supportive friends, and dedicating time to a purpose. His story was entitled Part of Something Greater. Again, thanks for listening. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.